So in this video we're going to find the unit vector in the direction from P to Q. So it says find the unit vector in the direction from P -251 to Q 032. So remember, the unit vector means we want a vector of length 1. So we're going to need to do a couple things here. We're going to need to find the vector from P to Q. We're going to need to find the size of the vector from P to Q. And then we're going to remember that the unit vector, so if we give this vector PQ the name U, then we want to find the unit vector U hat, and we find U hat by taking 1 over the size of PQ, or 1 over the size of U. It's kind of nice to give it the name U. We don't have to write so much. 1 over the size of U times the vector U itself, so times the vector U. So first the vector from P to Q, and I always like drawing the picture. It makes me happy. So even if it doesn't make you happy, tough patootie. So if I have the point -251 and the point Q, which is at 032, if I want to find the vector from P to Q, we're looking for the vector in this direction from P to Q. So this is the terminal point. This is the initial point. So finding the vector from P to Q is just going to be just like it was in the previous homework. It's going to be the difference between the components, corresponding components, terminal point minus initial point, terminal minus initial. So it's going to be x coordinate 0 minus x coordinate -2, x coordinate 3 minus y coordinate 3 minus y coordinate 5, and then z coordinate 2 minus z coordinate 1, which is going to give us the vector 2, -2, 1. Now that we know PQ, we need to find the size of PQ. So the size of PQ, we know that is given by the square root of the sum of the squares of the vector components. So we need to square the x component, we need to square the y component, and we need to square the z component, add them all up, and then put it in simplified radical form. So we get 2 squared is 4, plus -2 squared is 4, plus 1 squared is 1, and then this adds up to 9, so we get the square root of 9 is 3. So there's the size of PQ. So if we're looking for that unit vector from P to Q, looking for that vector U hat, we simply take 1 over the size of our vector, and then we multiply it by the vector itself, 2, -2, 1. I think it's okay to leave it in factored form. Usually if you have answer keys, the answer keys will show it distributed, the scalar distributed into the vector using scalar multiplication, 1/3.